Welcome to the Magic of Strategy, your go-to podcast for unlocking the secrets to small business success. I'm your host, Karen Hewitt, the CEO of Blossom to Success, Inc., and a dedicated social media strategist. Each week, I will be sharing expert insights, actionable tips, and inspiring stories to help you turn your business dreams into a reality. Now, whether you're starting out or looking to refine your strategy, you're in the right place. Let's dive in and discover the magic of strategy together. Hello, my loves. My name is Karen Hewitt, and you are with the Magic of Strategy. And today we have a phenomenal guest. I actually know him personally, so I'm probably going to embarrass him or make him look a little crazy. Either way, I'm sure he'll roll with it. We have Steve Feld, otherwise known as Biz Coach Steve. Now, I know most guests give you a bio to read. I'm just going to tell you about Steve. He and I have known each other for several years now. And the one thing I've learned about him is if you want to play chess with your business, you go in with a plan to win at the beginning of it. There's none of this, oh, we'll see how it goes. There is a little go with the flow, but it's more we put something in action and react to it. And we react to it with plans, strategy, and logic. A lot of you are coming into business right now, and you're just, each morning you wake up and you're like, okay, what's going to hit my desk? How am I going to do this? And there's two major problems. Steve's actually going to help us address one of the big problems in business, and it's to do with sales. How many of you, and just be honest with yourself, how many of you are making enough money in your business because you're selling enough product, enough services, enough books, booking enough speaking? And I'm going to tell you the number one reason why you're not. In fact, I'm going to ask Steve to tell you the number one reason why you're not, because this is the one area in your plan that you are missing. Hello, Steve. How are you?
Good, and you?
Good. So what are they screwing up on? Let's get right out there. What is the big screw up?
I asked this to, I don't know how many entrepreneurs. Who's your target market? And
Yes.
they go on and on and on and on, and I still can't figure it out to save my life. Well, guess what, folks? If that's the reaction, that's the message you're putting out there, trying to be everything to everyone, and you're actually nothing to all.
Steve, you're right. I see it all the time. I see people who, well, I can help everyone. I
Right.
help every business. I can fix any product. I can speak to anything.
Yeah.
And then they're like, but if I can do so much, why does no one want me?
Right. Because
Target
no one
market.
gets that. I always translate it to like, look at any major product out there, cars even. They have target markets. They know their market inside, outside, upside down. Lamborghini does not advertise on TV or in print for a reason. They know their target market. But if you go to a yacht club, private country club, I bet there's an ad for them there because they know where their target market hangs out. They know what their target market likes. So they know who it is and they know who it is not. That's why they're successful. They don't try to be everything to everyone.
All right. So in the course of this podcast, what we're going to do today is we're actually going to make people leave here with notes. So if you haven't got your pen and paper, get your pen and paper or save this to listen to again later. Because the one thing I've always adored about Steve is you're going to leave with some actionable items to improve your business, get more strategy, and boost your revenue. So grab that pen and paper, hit pause now if you need to, or save. We're going to get into it. All right, Steve. So how long exactly have you been in business? Let's find out a bit more about you.
Wow. Many decades. I have owned and operated 7 businesses, turned 4 others around. I've written currently 9 books on business for small business owners, and I have been a mentor for SCORE, Arizona Commerce Authority, and I've helped God knows how many hundreds and hundreds of startups, entrepreneurs, wantrepreneurs. I've done workshops and classes for all these individuals because my passion is to see small business owners survive and thrive.
Okay, you just mentioned the type of entrepreneur, and I have actually not heard this phrase before. So I'm going to ask you, a entrepreneur?
A entrepreneur, we get those. I teach a class called ABCs of Starting a Business, and that's really what it is. We talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. We do not sugarcoat a single thing. And in that room, there are entrepreneurs. They are working for corporate America or another business, and they have a passion and urge to be their own boss. So they're entrepreneurs, but they don't know where to start or what to do, and they don't have an idea conceptualized. So that's when we give them the good, the bad, the ugly. Because if I could talk someone out of being an entrepreneur and it will save their home, their marriage, everything, I am happy about that, honestly. But if I can
Oh
also
my,
talk them into it where their passion is ignited and they are clear and focused, then I love that too.
oh, I actually really like that because I have seen there's this generation of business owners. They get into it, they all of a sudden they're like, oh, I can speak on stage, or oh, I can write a book, or I'm going to join network marketing, which, for anyone who follows me, this is a valid form of business. But what they do is they don't treat it like a business. It's
Right.
this fly by night operation where they just get up each day and decide what they're going to do for that day. And some days they work, what, 18 hours, drive themselves into another grave, the marriage, ruin the relationship, ruin the bills, whatever. And then some days it's like, well, I'm tired, so I'm going to take 3 weeks off.
Right. And
That's a
I've been
perfect
down that
example.
road personally. I burnt
Yeah.
myself out. I was at the wit's end. I had a business and it was struggling, and I'm doing all the what I think are all the right things. I'm trying to be everything to everyone. Just nothing's working. I finally, some good friends said, get a coach. So I got a business coach, and within 45 days, my life was different. And the number one thing they asked, who's your target market? And I started doing the
Yes.
and they just said, stop, let's stop that madness right there. And once we had my target market solidified, we looked at all the marketing, everything went to that target market. I changed my interior of my store to that target market's needs and wants and demographics. And I knew where to advertise now because I was crystal clear. All of a sudden, my business took off, and I end up winning Small Business of the Year for one of the chambers.
See, there you go. All right. So target market was one. Let's start with the big question.
Mhm.
What exactly is a target market? Because we're using this buzzword, and it is, in a way, it's a buzzword. And if you
Right.
don't know, you don't know. So let's break down without how to hit a target market. What is the target market? What is this special thing we have to figure out?
Absolutely. It's either a person or a business that wants your product or service that is going to solve their problem. It's that simple. It's like when I talk about business, people go, well, the whole point of business is to make money. That is not true. The point of business is it's to provide us a goods or services to an individual or another business that solves their problem in exchange for money.
Right.
And I
Because if
think
you're not,
people miss it.
yeah, because if you're not solving a problem, then you're not going to make the money. So
Right.
woohoo, we're like, okay. So it's a person or a business that needs your product or service to either solve a problem, or the other part of it is to improve their life or their structure. Because
Right.
sometimes, and I've seen businesses out there, you're not solving problems. Lamborghini is a great uh, example of that. Because if the problems you need to get from A to B, well, you can do that in any car. It's
Right.
a increase of a level of life. It's like that luxury. It's that I want to come across this way. So it's not problem solving, but it's improving the life of their ideal client.
Exactly. They're a luxury brand that actually focuses on wants and needs and status. So that is a problem for certain people who have money. They want to
Hmm.
be seen in a better light. Guess what? Lamborghini can solve that problem.
Right. So when you're thinking about this, start thinking about, well, what is it your business does? What problem do you solve? What thing do you make better? Now, I guarantee people are they're listening to this and go, well, my product helps everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
The amount of times I've heard that it is insane.
Oh,
So,
if I had a nickel for every time I heard it, I'd be retired on a, I'd own my own island.
so let's talk about what this means to different business types. So let's look at like a service business, a product business, and what give us some examples of how we would do this. Let's start with a really simple one.
Oh,
We have service-based.
yeah, I use one pizza because there's a pizza's pizza, folks. Come on. It's dough, it's sauce, it's toppings. That's it. So what makes the pizzerias different? And it's simple. They have different markets. So yeah, I can distinguish that because I use Domino's as an example. So Domino's comes on the market. They're going to try to play against like the big boys. Pizza Hut was the winner at the time. Pizza Hut has their own market. They didn't care about Domino's. So Domino's had to figure out what is another problem pizza buyers have. So they went back to the basics. So they did the simplest thing in the world. They went to college campuses and asked kids, what would make life easier for food for you? Because you are a busy schedule and you don't have time to go, sit in a restaurant. They all go, oh man, fast delivery. So they started looking at that. So they created little teeny storefronts, little size, small square footprints on college campuses or near college campuses, hired college students to get the word out. And that's prompted 30 minutes or less, or it's free. That became their niche market.
They solve the problem. Well,
They
let's look
solved the
at this
problem.
on let's look at it on a smaller scale. Let's say you
Yeah.
have someone who's in service like electrician, plumber, one of those home repair type.
Mm,
How do you narrow that? Because I can go to any house in any
right.
area that I can drive to and service whatever they need. Again, I can help anyone, but you need that niche. How would you suggest something like that?
I actually work with someone who actually did home installation for sound systems, audio visual. So it was very kind of nichey. They couldn't figure out why they're struggling. I look at their ads, they're trying to say, we can install this in any home. And it's like, does any home want this? Well, no, but we can do it in any home. I go, yeah, you could do it in any home, but do they want it? Well, no. And I go, I don't want an interior hidden speakers and all that in my house because I don't have that need or want. But who does? And they all said the same thing. He said the same thing. He goes, oh, their home values of this, and they live in these demographic zip codes. And I go, so you know who wants it, but you're targeting everyone. So the people in those demographics were ignoring the message because it wasn't speaking to them.
Oh,
So
so
we
how would
changed the
you
marketing.
you just brought up that you said, well, how? What are some questions that, and write these questions down, everyone, okay? What are some questions that someone needs to ask themselves to figure out their target market? Let's give
The
them some
first thing,
actual hard questions.
exactly. And I was starting off, people go, well, I don't know who my target market is yet. And it's like, okay, let's back the bus up here. What is your product or service? Now, if you're unclear on that we don't have anything to go on. We're standing on water and we all know it will sink. But if you say, listen, I have the next greatest widget. I've been working in the widget industry for 20 years. I've been a designer. Great. Then you have the next greatest widget. Yeah. Okay. Who buys the widget? Well, these kind of companies. What happens then? They go, I got the greatest widget. It's going to work in every company. Well, you just now know who buys the widgets because you have the industry knowledge. But let's say you don't have that industry knowledge yet. There's a couple places you can go to find that out, believe it or not. One is that thing called Google, I think.
Oh, I've heard of that. I think
Yeah,
it's a big thing.
it's a big thing. And the second one is probably even more powerful. It's called a library. They all have business resource centers at the bigger ones. Guess what? There's someone in there that is so knowledgeable on finding all this data it's going to be blowing your mind out of the water. And believe me, folks, I use the library quite often because of the data and the research and the knowledge that's in there. It has helped my businesses time and time again. Sounds crazy. Oh, and it's free, by the way.
I know these free things are crazy. Now let's look at this. So, who needs to say, I have seen, especially in the last 5 years, there's been a huge upsurge in individuals who start businesses to be some form of coach.
Oh,
And and it just like you, if I had a nickel or a dime for every time someone told me they were a life coach or a business coach, I'd be so wealthy. And then they tell me that they have no clients.
you're right.
How would someone like that start to understand who needs their service? Because we have these big umbrella terms, and I think there's a disconnect between the umbrella term and the actual niche of their
Oh,
service.
absolutely. Yeah, they're all different types of coaches. I mean, I think we identified 57 at one point, types of coaches, with life being number one and business being number two. So everyone could be a life coach. Yeah, let's solve the trauma, right? But the most successful life coaches are like, wait a minute, no, I only work with, say, women between 40 and 55 who have had these issues in their life, who have had their second marriage. I mean, it's so hyper focused. They are so hyper focused, they have a waiting list because they're not trying to be a life coach to everyone. Could they help people, everyone? Yes. Do they want to? No, they know their target market and they love it and they're good at it. That's how you become an expert, perfect the
Yeah.
skill.
And same with business. And because we both coach businesses,
Mhm.
but we both coach businesses on two completely different aspects.
Absolutely. And I used to have a coaching consulting company where I only coach C-suite people, C chief executive officers, chief marketing officers, all the chiefs, right? And I hated it to death. I dreaded it. But you know what? People hired me because they thought, I'm getting results for them. But I was not happy. So I realized my passion lies in small business owners, solopreneurs. They have 1 to 3 employees that are around, anywhere from startup to say 500,000 in revenue. And that's where I started finding my passion. So what did I do? I changed everything. I changed everything, start top to bottom. My logo, which by the way, I did not get first. My website. Oh, I got my website 9.5 months after I started the business. And that's about when I got my business cards, believe it or not, 9 months into my business. So I
Think
wasn't focusing on all the wasteful, all I have to create a trifold. What I was focused on was my messaging and getting that out there and palm pressing. And all of a sudden, my business grew.
I think you just brought up something huge. The amount of people, I'm starting a business, I'm working on a logo, I'm working on
Oh,
color themes, I'm working on my website, I'm getting my business cards. Great. So who do you help?
yeah, stop the madness. And then I always ask those people, so who's your target market? Well, I'm really trying to figure that out. And it's like, well, everything, all these things, these peripheral things, your business card, brochure, website, they have to speak to your target market. So if you don't know who your target market is, then nothing else matters. No one's going to get you.
Now, if you've already done these things, if you've already got your website, you've already got your logo, you've already got your business cards, but you've not done your target market, can you come back from that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I've reinvented my own website. I don't know how many times because I all of a sudden I noticed there was shifts in my market. It was shifts. At one point, I was targeting insurance agents, insurance agency owners, and financial service providers because they were directly tied, but they own their own agency, even though they might be what they call a captive agent, but they own their own agency. So I was targeting them, and I'd say I am maxed out with clients. I'm doing workshops, and I realize I don't have a single client in that industry, in either of those two industries. Everything I have has insurance agency owner and financial planner owner. I didn't have a single client. So I polled my current and past clients, why did you hire me? It was real hard. Just asking them a simple question, right? They said, your message actually spoke to me. I just ignored the insurance and financial stuff. So guess what? That's correct. That's the best data you can get is from your clients.
Yeah.
So I just dropped those two things and put in small business owners. And guess what? Everything
Oh,
was fine. But I had to change everything at that point.
okay. So we're looking at, so what product or service do you sell? Who are you helping with that? What are some of the demographics that you should be listing out when you're trying to figure out
Um,
your target market? What kind of things are you looking at? How do you build this ideal client?
oh, one of the things, the avatar, if you will, as they say. And
Yeah.
I always joke because people always call their avatar Steve. And I don't know how if I should be offended or not. But so I do actually have an avatar sheet. It's a guy named Steve, and it does everything. Are they married, single, their age, education levels? Let's go through all that. And people think, wow, this is a lot of work and a lot of time. I swear to God, once you understand who your avatar is, your target market, everything can be built upon that foundation. And
So
for businesses that are in business, just ask.
yeah. And here's the thing, just because you're doing everything like you discovered, you're doing everything to one target, you're still going to get outliers,
Yes,
people that still hire you, even though you're not aiming for it. And it's better to have one or two outliers that are outside your target market than trying to get everyone and have no clients at all.
that's it. You're trying to bring the outsiders in. It's easier to put up what they call the red row from the book Get Book Solid. Put up the red row. Who are you going to let into your world, into your client base? The more you put up a red row, the more people want in. Now you say who wants in. Think of it like a nightclub, right?
Mhm.
If you're not on the list, right, you have to wait in line. Then the bouncer looks at you and are you the right demographics? How they know? They're looking at certain age, dress, all these attitude things to let you in the club because their club is high scale or whatever it may be. So they have a demographic and they have a target market for that club. And they're not letting you in unless you hit it. Everyone else standing in line, they're the outliners. And now it's up to you if you choose to let them in, but you need to be selective of letting them in. Don't let
Because
everyone
because if you start taking all outliners on as clients or customers, what's going to happen is you'll actually shift your target market and start down that trying to appease to everyone.
in. Right.
Now, once you have your target market, how does this actually impact your business? What kind of things do you take this? I have this worksheet. I figured out my Steve. What next?
This one, it's an exercise I have personally done, I don't know how many times, and I do it, I think, once a year. And it sounds crazy, but I always tell people write down 50 of their problems. It's what's in it for me, and the me is them. So, what are their problems? You have to get outside of your head, get outside of your body, and start thinking like them. What are their problems? So, you write down 50. It doesn't sound like a lot, right? I kid you not, once you get to about 25, whoo, now you really have to really separate you from your business. Hard.
Let's come up with an example here so they can get the feelings. We've already used insurance agents. We've already used this. I want to make sure that we're talking to all different types of small
Yeah.
businesses. Let's talk about speakers.
Oh,
I think because this is something I'm seeing everyone wants to be a professional speaker and speak on stage because they think it's huge amounts of money and easy money because they only have to work 1 day a month. So let's talk about this. If you're
yeah.
someone who wants to be a professional speaker, how would you define that 50 list? How would you define that target market? And you might have to give us some more criteria before we got to that 50 list
Right.
to make this work.
Yeah. First thing is like, okay, what kind of stages do you want to be on? You're gonna have to even take it a step back. It's like we'll start from the beginning because don't know who your target market is yet. So that's why you have to define it. Like, so what kind of stages? You want to be at conferences, summits, podcasts, corporations, general events? You want to be an MC? You want to be a facilitator? Do you want to do trade shows? I mean, it just goes on and on. So you got to know where you want to speak. Great. Now let's say you want to speak at corporate conferences. You want to be the keynote, because we hear that a lot, right? Great. What would your keynote be? And they'll throw out something so generalized, 9 times out of 10, you're like, I don't even understand that. No one else will. Okay, let's break it down even deeper. So you want to speak on corporate keynotes. Okay, are they end of year conferences, or are they like mid-year conferences? Are they just quarterly? What kind of corporate conference do you want to be at? Okay, let's say an annual corporate event, an award event. See how it's getting narrower and narrower.
Yeah. And every time I speak to someone, I want to be a speaker. You know what they always tell me? I'm going to be the next Tony.
Yeah,
That
Tony has a market.
Tony has his own independent market. He is one of a kind, and you
Mhm.
can't really be him. But that's how they have it in their head that
Right.
it's going to be.
When he first started, he was everything to everyone and failing.
Hmm.
He hired the best coaches in the industry, including speaking coaches, and they narrowed his niche down to simple. They go, here's the problem you're going to solve on stage.
Hmm.
Everything he did from that point forward was to solve that one problem on stage.
Yeah. He started with hypnosis. That's where he
Yeah.
started to take off. It was hypnosis. He would hypnotize people on stage.
Yeah.
And if you say that to someone who looks at his feet, they're like, no, 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 no. No, that's
Yeah.
exactly what he did.
And then he shifted to like NLP, then the coaching. I mean, it was just bouncing. And then they started focusing. It's like, stop the madness. Let's focus on you're creating between personal and business people out there. One-on-one, people have their own problems, but business owners have the same problems. But you got to talk to both of them. How are you going to do that? What are their problems? Oh, yeah, it's getting unstuck. That's easy. Unstuck from what? They have put up their own mental roadblock. Oh, okay, we're getting somewhere. Do you see where we're
Yeah.
going? Like, here's their problems. And
Yeah.
then he starts going, besides putting up their own roadblocks, how are they putting up their roadblocks? Oh, well, they think like this. Problem, 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 problem. They don't have
Yeah.
time to solve it. They don't know how. Well, it just keeps on going. And then next thing you know, you have the list of 50 problems.
Right. So we're talking the quarterly corporate key event. Well, what's
Yeah,
the problem in the company? Why
exactly.
is that the problem?
Yeah. And are you going to get booked through the corporation or through an event planner? That's two totally different markets,
Yes.
believe it or not. So let's say you want to go direct to corporation, because that's my preferred method. And anytime I hear there's an event planner, next, I go to the next contact. Reason is that I don't want to play competition with a whole bunch of speakers and they knock down my fees. That's why I'd rather go to the corporation and I ask them a simple thing. I go, listen, I've researched your corporation, research that Google thing again. So I know what they've had in the past. I look at their past speakers. I look at the topics and the descriptions of their past speakers. Guess what? I'm getting a vibe of what they're looking for. I find the contact person. How? Oh, that's so easy, believe it or not. It's called their website. And there's also a program out there called Hunter.io that you can also use as well. We're not going to go deep into that. But let's say I find the contact person. Now my message is targeted to that individual, that company, on a problem that I'm noticing through all those speakers that are solving, and they haven't figured it out yet, but I might put a different twist on it. So good idea, you're talking about MLM. I love speaking at franchise corporation events. I love it. Why? They're all franchise owners. I love working with business owners. That's the crowd I have out there. That's my target market, is in the crowd, but I know who's bringing the crowd in, so I go after that person or that corporation. Now I can speak directly to the crowd. So my message to whoever the event planner is at the company is one message. And then my crafting of the message will be to every single person sitting out there. So they are different, but yet aligned.
And again, it's all getting down to that target market. So for a speaker, you find out your target market, you know where you want to go, you do your research, you know the problems they have, then you can craft your presentation. And as someone who does speaking, I know you do too, I have to share this piece of advice with you. Please do not have like 30 keynotes that you can give. You really only need 2 to 3. And the ideal advice is you need to be able to tweak those 2 to 3 to the audience.
Yeah.
The vast majority of the keynote is pretty much word for word the same as you would have given to a different audience. It's just light little things.
That's it. You know, what I remember speaking to a whole bunch of insurance agents at a conference. Everything I had in there, I used their terminology. How did I find that out? Well, first of all, I know the industry, but I asked the person who booked me, what are their top problems right now that you are seeing with those agents? Oh my God, I just got gold. They go, it's boom, boom, boom. So guess what my 3 topics were? Those 3 things. Same title I've used in I don't know how many other presentations, same 3 topics. I just changed the order and made sure I said insurance agent instead of business owner.
Yeah. And this also helps you with what not to do. And I do know you have a what not to do story
Oh, good.
because
I've
we
done
all
it.
have a few things because we've done it, right? But the thing is, once you work out your target market, it's also how you show up. I I know a lot of people like influencers and things like that. They're like, oh, I deal with the hot mess mom. How many times have we heard the hot mess? But then they're showing up in designer gear, not completely just no, hang on, no, don't have my vibe. Or I think one of the best ones is no, I'm a business owner, but they're there sitting by the pool in a swimsuit talking about business. And it's like, I don't know about you, but I don't get business vibe by sitting by the pool. You have to then think about how do I come across as a human when I'm interacting with my target niche. And then I remember you told me a story about turning up in a suit.
Yeah. It was a conference for tradespeople, all business owners out there, all associated in that association. And I'm coming all business-like, thinking, hey, it's a conference. They're gonna all be in business suits, right? So I come in the business suit, I walk in, everyone's in jeans, polo shirts with their logos on it. They're in their daily gear. I'm getting on stage, and then even the event person is in jeans and a polo shirt with the association logo on it. And they're scanning me going, sure you don't want to change? And I'm like, I'm about ready to walk on the stage. I walked up there, it was the most awkward thing in the world. So no matter what I said, I was disconnected from the audience from the second I walked on the stage.
And I think this also goes a long way to talk about authenticity in finding your target market. Because, and again, this is another problem I see is I have people who are they're at home, like with the trades. That's their home, they're happy, they work with them on a daily basis. But in their head, I want to make more money. So I need to go to someone who can afford to pay me 6 figures. So what they do is they try and elevate themselves up to meet that demographic, but it is so inauthentic and not really where their problems are being solved that it's a hit and a miss.
Oh,
It's like
very true. Yeah. I had an HVAC guy, messy truck. He looked like he's been through the ringer. And here he is servicing $1 million homes. And he can't figure out why he can't get traction in that market. I'm like, look at the other service truck across the street. Truck is spotless. Look at the person. Wow. It looks like they just came out of like a laundromat. It's so pressed. And they leave the home still clean. You come in looking like you haven't changed your clothes in a week or showered. People don't want to hire that because that was the perception that they had and what they were looking for. You were not matching it. So they don't want you. So we
And it
changed
also,
his look and we changed his trucks and everything. And all of a sudden he was hitting that market.
but it's also the flip is of there. You
Mhm.
could be that down to earth tradesperson
Mhm.
with the messy truck and the
Yeah.
very honest apparel and be making 6, 7 figures a year
Oh, absolutely.
because your target market are the ones that like, oh yeah, you're here, you're gonna give us a no BS, straight up answer, and we're gonna
Mhm.
appreciate that. So you have to think about your target. Not only do you have to think about your target market, about who you want to serve, but are you going to be comfortable serving them?
Exactly. If you're not comfortable like getting all prim and proper to go up in an attic when it's 110 out, then don't target that market. Target the market you're more comfortable with, where they don't mind you wearing shorts up there.
Yeah.
Last time I had my HVAC guy, I mean, they're coming in like torn up jeans and t-shirts, and it's like, guys, you can. They're like, yeah, we're comfortable. And if he came
Mhm.
in all prim and proper, and I'm thinking he's going up in my attic, oh my God, what's this going to cost me?
Yeah.
Different
So
market.
we talked about, how you show up. Now, this also comes into how do you strategize a plan? You've got your target market, you figured out, this is the demographic, this is the area, this is the problem I solve. I have my list of 50. And again, you're entrepreneurs, okay? I love that phrase. They do the work, they get to the list of 50, and then they go, well, I did it, put it to one side. Okay, now I'm in work.
No. For every one problem, you better have a solution. So I say 50 problems on one side of a paper, 50 solutions that match up. Now, this does take a little massaging because you got to get all your solutions out of your head. Just spitball. Don't try to match up one on one. And then you do like that game, the lines, matching them up. Then you clean up that list. Now you revisit that list and you have to identify first your top 10 problems that are on that list. So now they move up. Now you start asking people, are these your problems? Watch out. Now you get it down to 5. Then you keep working on it. Now you get it down to 3. Guess what? That's all you need. Top 3 problems of my clients are boom, boom, boom. I solve them by boom, boom, boom. I'm not telling them 50, but if they say that's not one of my problems, it's this, guess what? I bet it's on your list and you have a
And you
solution for it.
so what do you do with those top three? How do you turn this into actual running a business
Mhm.
and having a system in place for it?
I say your top 3 problems now becomes your elevator pitch too. Like small business owners hire me too. Problem 1, problem 2, problem 3. So I help them by solve through solution 1, solution 2, solution 3. So I said who my target market was, their problems, how I solve them. And do you notice I don't do comparanoia? So please, folks, I hear this so many times. We're going to be like the next Uber. And it's like, okay, Uber's what they call a unicorn company. It's $1 billion in valuation. They are a disruptor. They are not a chip. That's it. They're just a disruptor, but they're also $1 billion in debt. So do you want that? We're going to be like Amazon. Amazon, I call it the one theory, and I talk about this all the time. Read books about Amazon. They focus on one problem only at a time, only one. And they solve the one, tweak it, fix it, modify it, become masters at it. Then they move to the next one problem. That's how
Mhm.
they got big. Not trying to be everything to everyone. They focused on one thing at a time. And if you notice about Amazon, all those categories have a different market. Here's
Yeah.
something funny. McDonald's only has 3 markets.
Okay.
And you can see this in all their advertising. All of it hits these 3 demographics. Families with kids, retirees, workers who need a meal fast. It has nothing about healthy, delicious, nothing. It's fast, inexpensive meals. That is their mantra. If it doesn't fit fast, inexpensive meal, it can't be a McDonald's product.
Hmm.
It's that simple, folks.
You see, the only one of those three demographics that threw me for a second was the retirees.
They look at their ads, and the reason they want the retirees because they spend time in the stores, in the franchisee stores, and they come on they need a place to gather. So it's not just one of them. They always gather in groups. They know their market. So that's why they have a dollar value menu. That's what prompted it, was the retirees.
Right. So what I want to do is I want to just go back to something you said a moment ago, is the elevator pitch. Let's repeat that so everyone can take it down, and you can then put your target market in, your problems and your solutions. So can you rephrase that so they can write it down, because they need this?
Yeah. So I'd never start off any elevator pitch with I help, because that denotes you're giving your services away for free. So please, I would recommend highly, don't say I help. You can use I help later on in your elevator pitch, but do not start with that.
Mhm.
So I start off, small business owners hire me too. So whoever it is, so it might be moms that are stressed out with multiple kids and owning a business, hire me to. Boy, does that say who your target market is?
Mhm.
If it's not you, then guess what? They might know someone who fits that, not you. Life
Yeah.
will go on.
Yeah.
So now then you lead into, because they have problem one, problem two, problem three. And those are your top three problems that you identified. So mine is, they're stressed out, they want financial success, and they have no plan. So now's when you can do the I help. So I help them by solution one, coming up with a set schedule, creating a long-term plan so they can achieve financial prosperity. And then now I've just blanked out my own third one. And then build a business that one day they can eventually sell and reap the rewards of all their sweat equity. When I say that part, that hits more audiences. Like, oh,
Yeah.
wait, I'm putting sweat. They don't realize sweat equity is real.
Yeah. I I have to say, the amount of people I see in their bios, I help, I help,
Oh, I
I
know.
help, I help. Okay, and how many people are messaging you with their problems, expecting you
Mhm.
to be a therapist,
Yep.
expecting you to give them free answers, expecting to get on your calendar for any length of time in order for you to solve their problems? Because you're putting it out there that you help them, so they're
That's
expecting
it.
it for free. And
I
I
agree.
do like and I do like one other thing you said about the, how to sell your business, and listen to, I want Steve, I want you to repeat that paying off the sweat equity part statement one more time,
Yeah.
because this needs to hit home.
Yeah, you need to build a long-term sustainable business that you can sell one day. The reason I say that, during the pandemic, everyone, sky's falling and everything else. My business, and I had multiple coaches underneath me. We are so busy, we didn't know which way was up. The number one reason was, I called up a business broker. They won't even touch my business, and I've owned it for 30 years, and I put in all the labor and everything, and they told me I don't have a business to sell. And when I asked them a simple question, and this was the question, how many employees that are not relatives do you have in your business? Well, it's me, my wife, and my kids. You don't have a business. You built an income stream, which I say it's very commendable, but you don't have a business to sell. So all your sweat for those 30 years, you're going to have to keep working to keep making money.
Yeah. And the other side of that is, okay, I actually love family businesses. I think family businesses are a fantastic thing. But if you are not building that business that you have the intention and the ability, the plan and the strategy that on this such and such a day, you are no longer in charge of your business
Mhm.
and your kid, your nephew, whoever it is that you are passing it down to, and that you have a way for you to retire from that transaction. Because that's the other piece of this. You can have a business where it's just relatives, but you have to have a plan where you can
Yeah,
retire from the transaction to the next generation running the
absolutely.
business.
That's one of the things I work with on my business owners. They could be a solopreneur all by themselves. Maybe the wife or the spouse is working at a job, but it's like, what do you want to do? Where do you want to take this business? And I learned this the hard way. And my first business wasn't pretty, and I learned how to close the doors real fast with
Mhm.
zero out of it. Later on, I built my second business with the goal to sell it. That was its whole intention. I'm going to sell my business to one of my competitors within 10 years. So everything I did was to build to sell, build to sell. I wrote down all of our processes, everything, all of our documents went in a folder. We had it down, and I started hiring people because all of a sudden I was hyper focused on my target market and my messaging, and I was attracting clients like there was no tomorrow because I was speaking to them. And it was right after the economic downturn. And my target, my very first business, unfortunately, was all tech people in the tech industry that were startups, and I wrote business and marketing plans and operational plans for. Well, the tech bubble burst, and so did my business. After crying for 3 days, I wish I was joking. I woke up, said I'm going to start my second company, helping the companies that already received funding and are now war torn. They just got destroyed because of the tech bubble. I knew their target market. I crafted my message and started just using my Rolodex, well, business cards, and calling them up one by one and giving them my elevator pitch. And next thing you know, I'm getting hired. I had to start hiring people, but I built the business to sell. So my goal was, first person I'm going to hire is going to be doing this. Second person I'm going to hire is going to do this. It was very strategic. A year and a half later, one of my competitors made me an offer I shouldn't refuse. Year and a half.
And you see, I think this is one thing everyone misses, and you've said it now twice, well, three times really. You documented the process.
Yeah.
How many of you have a business that's listening? And if I was to ask you, well, what do you do when you get to your brick and mortar, or what do you do when you get to your office? Well, I know. Okay, so is that documented?
Right.
Well, no, because I just know what I do. I know how I unlock the door. I know how I log into my email.
Yeah.
I know how I process my invoices. Okay, so if something happened to you next week and someone else had to come in and run the business for a week, how would they do it?
Absolutely. I always say when you do the documentation, think of it as you're turning it over to your 13-year-old boy. And I'm using boys for a reason because they're grumpy, they're moody, they know everything. Just ask them. But could they unlock the door? Well, I think they could. They should be able to. They're 13. That's a big assumption in your business. I'm leaving no room for assumption. But now, when that company came to me, they knew how we were flying. I had staff of 12 at the time. Guess what? I'm the figurehead of the business, but if I got removed out of my own business, it would still survive without me. That's a business. I can go on
Mhm.
a monthly vacation, and guess what? My phone doesn't ring. That's a business because I have people taking care of it.
And that should be the goal for everyone. You should be able
That's
to
it.
take a week off and things still run.
Yeah.
And I like your example about is it something there's a huge experiment out there where they tell you to write instructions for a peanut butter and jelly
Oh,
sandwich.
yeah. I've been a
If
part of
you
that. I've witnessed it. I have conducted it. It's powerful.
So look at your process, and if someone was to do, and if you haven't seen the peanut butter, go on YouTube. I
Oh,
guarantee
yeah.
there's like 1,000 videos of people doing the peanut butter and jelly thing. It's insane. Look at the process. So you have your target market, you have processes in place, everything's aimed at them, your elevator pitch, your marketing. But you also have one other thing to do. You've got all this going on, and this is the biggest piece that every business owner I have ever had the ability to coach or the honor to coach are the ones that say they're struggling is they have a target. Once they get to the point, they have a target, they gain clients, they're serving their clients, and then that's where it ends.
That's it. And my question on that is, I'll back it even up. It's like, I need to be on all social media platforms. Well, if you know all
Mhm,
those that you just mentioned, where's your target market hanging out?
mhm.
Well, they're only on Instagram. So then why do you need to be on all of them? Now, I'm not going to say you should have a presence on
Yep.
all of them, but you should play where your target market is. So I could be on, say, LinkedIn and refer everyone to my LinkedIn or my Instagram page
Yeah.
and make it very compelling for them to make the switch over.
Yeah.
But I have a
And that,
presence then.
yeah. And that's one of the things I teach, which
Right.
I think I even told you to do some of it on a couple of your
Oh,
platforms.
I think I added like 25 social media sites, and all I do is have a presence, and I check them once every 6 months and
Um,
update it, and everything's getting forward to my LinkedIn account because that's where my market is.
And just so you know, that lesson is have a presence on every single social media platform on there. And if it's not where your target market is, so for example, you're not a TikToker, Steve,
Oh God, no. But I have a
but you
TikTok
still
account.
you have a TikTok account. And on that TikTok account, it's I'm glad you found me. Come join me on LinkedIn.
That's it.
I'm glad you find me. Come join me on Facebook. And if your account, if you are a TikToker, then your LinkedIn says, I'm glad you found me. Come find me on TikTok.
Yeah,
Because you're just funneling people to you.
right. I mean, there's certain we use stores as an example, grocery stores.
Mhm.
And there's high-end scale stores like Sprouts or some of these places. They're in certain areas of the town for a reason, and they're not in others for another reason. They know where their market is. So always think about, who your demographics are, who your people are, your target is, where are they playing? That's where you should be, even if you
Yeah.
hate it.
Yeah.
And I know a guy, he owned bowling alleys. Doesn't sound sexy, but he also ran specials and everything else. And he hated those windshield flyers that everyone kind of annoys people. So someone said, we're going to do windshield flyers. He hates them to death. They did it. His business, no one could get it in because all the lanes were booked all the time. And then he realized he hated it. His market loved it.
Right. Oh my gosh. It's such a so throughout this podcast, if you have been taking notes, and I highly recommend that you were, not only have you figured out the demographics and certain criteria for your target market because you know the product or the service or the option that you have to offer. Not only that, you know where they're based on social media, you know what their problems are, you know what the solutions are. You've got an elevator pitch all set up. You've just been given a 101 to find your target market. Now, we can get deeper.
Oh,
I'm not, this is
yeah,
like high level.
exactly.
We're scratching the surface here.
And I should mention, all these things are fluid documents. All these things are fluid. You will always be tweaking and refining, but you have to start somewhere and get a base going. That's
Yeah.
what I'm begging. Please start somewhere.
And I'm going to beg, stop saying you do everything for everyone. Oh my.
Ugh.
You can hear the exasperation in our voices. You're not everything for everyone. And if you try and do that, you're going to be a low dollar offer and you're going to be exhausted
Yeah,
and you will not have a transferable business at the end of it.
that's it. Now, do I know, like, say, coaches that do other things that I don't do? Oh, heck yes. And I refer them out to these people that I can't help them, but I refer them to the right person. And we have what they call joint venture partnerships.
Yeah.
So it's another income stream for me, but I want to help them, the client. I can't do what Karen does. So guess what? I'll refer them to Karen because she does that. I do other things. But it's something what the business owner or the individual needs. You got to solve their problems.
Right. Oh my gosh. Well, you have given us a absolute insane amount of knowledge today that if you take 10% of it and actually put it into action, you will see an increase in your business. And this is what the magic of strategy is about. There is something magical when you take a moment to step back and break things down. Because if you sit there and just go with the flow the entire time, you kind of lose some traction and you lose the ability to expand on everything. Now, Steve, I believe you also had something for anyone listening today as well, because you really do like helping these small businesses.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm more than happy to let anyone download one of my free books, one of my ebooks, and it's a well 100 case marketing. So it's 8 simple strategies that you can actually put in your business right away. Oh yeah, and it shouldn't cost you a penny in advertising or marketing. So they're just 8 simple strategies. Just take them, use those business breakthroughs, and get some success. And I believe you'll have the links in the show notes. So I'm not going to
Yep.
go to that URL. None of us ever write it down.
Oh yeah, no, we're going to have all the links the on the show notes. We're going to have all the links on the social media. It's going to be really easy to click. It's going to be easy to follow Steve as well. And pretty much a biz coach. This is called target marketing. On pretty much every social media, it's the same thing. Biz coach Steve, because Steve coaches businesses. End of story. And this is target marketing in practice. Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate you being here. You have given some great advice. Is there any last big aha or word of wisdom that you're going to share with our audience that they're going to just blow their mind?
Now, first, I'd like to say thank you for having me, and I hope it helps everyone out there. But the thing I always tell people is stop talking about it, start doing it. You're going to watch. All the talking about it will take you hundreds of hours, but if you just stop, pen on paper, and do it, you're going to realize it's going to only take you a little bit of time and your life's going to change so dramatically. So just do it.
Absolutely. That is some of the best advice that you will ever hear. Stop talking, go to action. This is how you grow. Well, thank you, Steve, and thank you everyone for listening to the Magic of Strategy. We talked about target market today and how to get that demographic down, as well as things to put into action. So if you found something useful here, put in the comments, what did you learn? What did you find out that, oh, maybe I should be doing more of? Share it with a friend that you have in business that you're like, they need to stop talking to everyone because it's actually hurting their business. Thank you very much, Steve, and we'll be back on the next episode. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Magic and Strategy. Now, I hope you found today's insights valuable and are ready to take action in your own business. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your favorite platform. And don't forget to follow us on social media for more tips and updates. Until next time, keep strategizing and stay magical. I'm Karen Hewitt, and this is The Magic of Strategy. See you in the next episode.